No, it can't be true. I could fly if I wanted to.
We've all had daydreams about being able to fly. We can't defy the laws of physics, but we can still dream about it. So what does it mean when a character in a film gets to fly? Let's look at a classic example. In E.T., the adults of the community showing conformity, hostility to anything new, xenophobia, suspicion, and a lack of imagination are bearing down on our young heroes. They've even set up a roadblock. At just the moment when things look worst, the bicycles leave the Earth, and with it, the Earthbound grown-ups. We see escape, wonder, magic, and freedom through flight. Flying is freedom. Let's do some closer readings of flying in film. Jenny in Forrest Gump wants to be free. She wants to fly away from her troubles. She has a sexually abusive, alcoholic father. She prays to fly away from him.
Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here.
But does she get her wings? Kind of. The police do take her to her grandmother, so she's technically free from her father, but this camera shot tells a different story. The camera moves up into the sky and birds fly away with us, but Jenny stays put on the ground. In a literal sense, she does get freed from her father, but figuratively, she's still stuck. She can't fly away from the emotional damage her father caused. Look at this shot of her as an adult, still falling to the ground at the site of her old house. The camera shot is placed firmly at ground level, reflecting that she's still grounded. She failed to free herself from the shackles of her past. Throughout the movie, we see her trying to fly away and fail each time.
You think I could fly off this bridge?
The close-up on her shoes shows Jenny trying to leap out of them, but she can't. She's stuck. Later, she tries using drugs to forget her abuse and fly away. The song Freebird playing in the background during this scene is definitely no coincidence. Now when she wants to fly, she's higher up in a building and wearing high heels, but no matter how much she tries extending herself upwards, she still slips and faces the reality that she can't fly. She can't escape the scars of her childhood. Only when Jenny goes back home to Forrest does she start to emotionally recover. Nobody can fly away from their past, but we can confront it, accept it, and move on. She dies, but she doesn't die alone or trapped. She dies in the company of people she loves, and that's when she truly becomes free, like a bird. Sometimes in film, the character does feel like they're flying. We can see parallels between Jenny's attempted flight and Rose's flight in Titanic. In the beginning, suicide off the back of the Titanic seems to be the only chance of escape Rose has from her rich, plain lifestyle and unwanted marriage. With Jack, however, she can now embrace the newfound beauty in her life at the front of the boat. Look at the difference between these static, dark close-ups on the back of the ship and the sweeping shots of color in the later scene. We perceive some innate beauty to the idea of flying that's reflected in Titanic.
Flying!
Birdman has such an interesting portrayal of flight because in the film, our hero, Regan Thompson, rejects flight. He chooses to stay on the ground and perform his play. In Birdman, flight is still a symbol of freedom, but it's a freedom Regan wants to avoid. Regan wants to stay grounded and face reality. His play seeks to comment on the issues of being human. With flight, a person escapes the struggles of being human. So flight means we no longer need the philosophical discussions on being human because we've escaped the need for them. Regan wants to stay on the ground because he wants to make art that actually means something. If he flies and makes superficial superhero movies, he'll be unable to make any profound commentary on the human condition, because through flight, he has escaped the human condition. He stays on the ground so he can comment on the struggles of being grounded in his play. So what about the flight at the end of the film? I think this is a different kind of flight, mainly because it's not just him that sees it. His daughter does. By this time in the film, Regan has overcome the need to please others. He does his play and does what he wants purely for himself. He transcended our needs as humans to fit in and please others, and we see this transcendence represented through flight. He achieved a higher sense of being, both literally and symbolically. So maybe we can't defy the laws of physics and fly, but if you manage to figure out yourself and your place in the universe, it sure feels like it.
Ah! Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
To infinity and beyond!
Thanks for watching.